Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We have two things we're going to do today. We are going to pick my next December book using the prompts on the calendar. But first, let's talk about the book I just finished reading, and that was the book to fulfill the cozy mystery prompt. Before we talk about the book, let's just take a moment and talk about what I look for in a cozy winter mystery. I live in a cold place, you probably already know that, so I like cold weather, I like snow-covered trees, frozen lakes and rivers, and some nice warm drinks. This book that I read is Twisted Tea Mystery by Laura Childs, and it's the 23rd book of the Tea Shop Mystery series, but it's the first one that I've read in this series. I mentioned this because I'm positive there are a lot of backstory things that I didn't know about because I haven't read the other ones. So now let's move on to the story. Theodosia owns and manages the Indigo Tea Shop. Two other people, Drayton and Haley, work in the shop with her. Drayton is the tea sommelier and a clerk, and Haley is the baker. She makes amazing desserts. The tea shop does two things. They sell tea and bakery, but they also host and cater events. The story opens at a party that they are catering, and Theodosia and Drayton are in the kitchen waiting for the appointed time to come out and pour the champagne and hand it out. But just as they're about to do that, they're walking through a hallway and they stumble over an unconscious guest. But soon they realize that the guest is not unconscious. The guest is dead. And not only dead, this guest has been murdered. Theodosia has a reputation for solving mysteries, and so the victim's assistant asks her to help. So, will she please look into it and see if she can discover what truly happened? And who did it? Much to the annoyance of the investigator working on the case, Bert, and Theodosia's boyfriend Pete, who is also a police officer, she agrees. Theodosia doesn't have much to go on, and December is very busy in her main job, the tea shop and catering, so she casts a wide net in searching for those responsible for the murder. With all the parties and events to plan and hold, we also get a peek into the inner workings of the business. It's a good thing Theodosia has Drayton and Haley to help her. I'm going to divide this into what worked for me and what didn't work as much. And because I like to end on a positive note, we're going to talk about what didn't work as much with this story. This is pretty minor, but the book does take place in a climate that is much warmer than it is here where I live. So when Theodosia complains about it being so cold because it's 40 degrees out, I have a hard time relating to that. Like when it's 40 degrees out here, I'm wearing my light winter coat. I haven't even broken out the warm jacket yet. But it's also missing some of the cold atmosphere that I am used to. And like I said, it's a minor point. Theodosia casts a wide net in her search for the killer. She suspects everyone. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. She pretty much has to. But instead of eliminating suspects to narrow it down who the killer was, it's more that the killer reveals himself. And the character of Theodosia, I kind of felt ambivalent toward. I can't identify exactly why, but because of this, I wasn't drawn into the story, or as much of the story as I would have hoped to have been. Let's move on to what worked. So what did work? As much as I was ambivalent toward Theodosia, I loved Drayton and Haley. They are fun. Haley is super organized, and Drayton and Haley get things done. And they keep Theodosia on track a lot of the time. Acting as a tea sommelier, Drayton's explanations of the tea pairings are really intriguing. And his banter with Theodosia is just plain fun. Haley is organized, and she's a super creative baker. She has it together, and I really appreciate that in a character and in a person. Honestly, I kind of wanted to hang out with Drayton and Haley like all the time. And the events. The events and the tea parties are so fun to read about. It's no secret I like to drink hot drinks. Tea is my favorite, usually decaf or herbal infusions. And it's fun to read about people who like tea and prepare tea parties. And I especially appreciate the tea resources, the recipes, and the tea time tips in the back of the book. So, if you want to read a mystery and you like tea and you want to mix those two things together and read a tea mystery, I suggest you read one of the books in the series. I have heard that the earlier books in the series are better than this one. And it may just be because she's trying to incorporate winter and Christmas into it. I'm not sure, but definitely check one of those out. And what are some other books you can read for a similar experience? We're going to talk about two of them. First, I have Christmas Caramel Murder by Joanne Fluke. And this is a series about Hannah Swenson, and she is her city's baker who also solves mysteries. This one takes place in Minnesota, so it should give you all the cold winter feelings if that's what you're looking for. This one also has recipes in the back, and I believe a good helping of humor. Another option is one of Anne Perry's winter mysteries. Anne Perry writes mysteries set in Great Britain in the late 1800s. She also does the Christmas series. And in the Christmas series, she will take a character from one of her other series, and they will be the main focus of one of the Christmas stories. This time, the character is from the Charlotte and Thomas Pitt novels, and I believe that it is Charlotte's mother, Caroline. So there we are, the Twisted Tea Mystery and two other books to read if you're looking for a similar experience. Let's move on to the next part where I am going to choose the prompt for my next book. And so I have always liked advent calendars, and I wanted to incorporate that into our video. And so instead of an advent calendar, I made this little picture that has 4 elements on it. And we're going to pick one of the elements. The back of the element will give me a book prompt, and I am not going to look. I'm just going to reach back there and grab whichever one. And so looks like I put my hand on the snowman, and the prompt is to read a YA book that feels like a Hallmark movie. So there's the prompt. Let me go find a book. And I am going to go with The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park. So I will be back next week to talk about this book. I hope that you will join me then. And until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. Thanks so much for having been here with me today. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.